Welcome to the Bonzolium channel. Today is a video on what I'm going to call the Bonham Trot. It is also called the John Bonham Boogie Woogie, as well as the John Bonham Chug, well, not the Chug-a-lugga, but it really is the Trot, the Boogie Woogie. It's really nifty. Now, real fast, I have a concept. Well, it's just, I didn't develop the concept, nor did I invent the concept, but I just am pointing out the concept of a four-way playing of the drum kit that I call the Bonham engine, okay? Because it's something that Bonham did a lot. Drummers have been doing it a long time, but Bonham made great use of it when he'd play, especially in his solos, his live solos mostly. The Bonham engine. So right real fast, there's a little gray box card thing that's going to pop up. If you haven't heard me go on and on about the Bonham engine, it's essentially single strokes with all four limbs happening at one time. There it is, or it was. It appeared there. So what I want everyone to do here is, because what's going to kind of happen is we're going to do the Bonham engine, but the paradigm of what happens underneath, 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E, and we're going to double the bass drum up. So it'll go 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E, and do you hear that? That's why it's like the trot. It's kind of, when I say the trot, it's like horses. You know, sometimes at like horse shows, if you've ever seen at horse shows, where like the horse comes out and they're like, "Now trot, Windsor," and he comes out and he's kind of like, he or she, and it's kind of like, that's kind of what it is reminiscent of. Okay, so what that becomes is 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and... See, when I count it that way, I'm just leaving out the E. So you have 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, but I'm just saying 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, okay? So it's really something, you know, in a classic example, if you hear Bonham play this stuff live all the time, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything in the studio where he sort of makes use of it. But live, it's all over the joint. Especially listen to the 1976, the song remains, well, it's from 73. I always will refer to the song remains the same from 1976. People have a butt rash for it. And they're like, Terry, don't you know it's from 73? Yes, it was recorded in 1973. But it came out in 1976. The no quarter, the original, the one that's like 12 minutes, okay? For whatever reason, well, for reasons... when they edited the movie, The Song Remains the Same, they had to have sort of a truncated version of no quarter in there, where there's a real funky edit, and I don't mean funky good, where they pull out, Jimmy Page, for whatever reason, decides to edit out a lot of the solo, which has so much beefcake and perfection in it. It's truly the no quarter, 1976 no quarter, on the album I had the original vinyl. That no quarter really kind of did suck me into Led Zeppelindom. That version of no quarter, and it's the same. It's true with George too, and George Flutis. I've also talked to other people about it. You got to hear it. But anyway, in that no quarter, there's a point in there where Bonham does some really cool. Like, listen. Now forget about the hi-hat there for a minute, okay? The point is, if the open disco sort of... The point is, if we then just remove... Forget I was talking about the cool disco hi-hat part and just go... Just get used to that. And sometimes what'll happen when people are learning that, sometimes they'll think about it as like instead of 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and they'll invert it in their head a little. So they'll be like 1E and 2E and 3E. Does that sound familiar? In some Bonham stuff, but that's the point. The same thing happens. It's just wherever your 1 is and stuff. Just the grouping of the 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and is important. Getting used to that pattern. Again, it's a trot. It's sort of a boogie. It's a trot, a boogie. What is the other term? There's another term that I wanted to call it. That indeed I did call it, but I can't remember what I said. The trot, the boogie, the... It's the Gallop. Remember, it is a Gallop. Once it gets really beefy, it's a Gallop. But when playing it this way, it's a trot. Now, what I just did there, it's the same thing as this. I'm just adding a note with the left hand, the E. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Okay, now you can do that 1 E, like here, what I was just doing here. Hat, snare, foot, foot. Or you can go hat, hat, foot, foot. Or snare, snare, foot, foot. Or tom, snare. That is a whole hell of a lot of uses in Bonham. But this is sort of the first video of sort of acquainting everybody just sort of with the fundamental trot or boogie of the. But back to No Quarter. In No Quarter, 1976 version, the full 12-minute one, you'll hear Bonham play this thing a lot in it. Okay? But what happens is George Flutis, my main man George Flutis, who has the channel Bonhamology, BONHAMOLOGY. I'll put a link to it up there. And, of course, he also plays with PFOZ, People's Front of Zeppelin. Yeah, there's a link to that, too. Put that up. Has been making a series of has made a series of videos on the Royal Albert Hall Bonham Moby Dick, which is really like a paradigm of that whole like 1968, 69 into 1970, 70 and 71 version of that Moby Dick, where there's a whole lot of technique in it, a whole lot of rudiments, okay? A lot of paradiddle diddles, double paradiddles even at points, paradiddles, paradiddle diddles, and paradiddle diddles, by and large. But this is very important to that because Bonham does sort of this fundamental thing at a lot of points in that solo, okay? So the point is, let's just remember that. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E. You know what? Think Dazed Confused. Bonham does that in there. So this basic foot portion of the engine, I'm stressing again, is very important in all things truly Bonham. Okay, again, don't forget to check out the you got to see Flutis doing the Bonhamology, and indeed now he's also cranking through like a live 1975 show, doing all that stuff. It's out of hand. You saw the link. Hopefully on the front end, I put a link to the Bonham engine, which again is simply this: right hand is hitting at the same time as the left foot, left hand hitting at the same time as the right foot, and you're just alternating. Okay, but you can get faster. It's very important. It's just then what happens is as we get moving along, we start doubling up that bass drum underneath. So we'll become, while we're still doing wacky stuff with our hands on top. Thank you for watching. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I ate my arse off. It was delicious. What I normally do is I'll get a pile of mashed potatoes, a pile of stuffing, and then a pile of turkey, and then I cover the whole thing with gravy, and I eat it. And then, I'll eat broccoli and stuff. I won't typically put sometimes you can put broccoli in that fracas. You can put it in there because it'll just blend with everything. Can't do cranberry sauce, but I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. More videos on the way. I know I've been around the holidays and stuff. I haven't been making a lot of videos, but I'm going to start making more videos, especially on this concept, because this is really helpful. Christmas is coming up. Pretty soon. So get out and shop before you're caught with your pants down. Like, oh my God, I got 4 days until I got to go shopping for 3 things and I didn't go. So start shopping now. Get it out of the way. I learned that early on. And I always forget to do it, and I'll probably be shopping the day on Christmas Eve anyway. So, but there was something else though. Seriously. Yeah, Bonhamology with George, PFOZ with George, and Ivan and Pete. There was another thing, though. Well, as usual, I can't remember. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Subscribe to Bonhamology and to PFOZ. Thank you for watching. More videos on the way.